All right, all right. Hello, everyone. Um, hey, guys, I'm Matt from HABESHA Finance. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Just want to go ahead and get started. And I'm Matt from HABESHA Finance. And so today we are going to be going over the Google Sheets budget tutorial. Some of you are familiar with this Google Sheets budget. And essentially, what this is about is just getting you guys the experience and understanding how to use the Google Sheets budget. And my this is my favorite Google Sheets budget. This is my favorite budget template, and really, it's just something very simple to use. And really, it was something that I came across just randomly and found it and made it available via the HABESHAfinance.com website. And so that's what we'll be going over today. We'll be going over the Google Sheets budget template that I personally use. For those of you struggling to manage your money, you've come to the right place, because if you've tried Mint app, if you've tried this kind of app or that kind of app, or this kind of, software or whatever, I think you're going to be very happy when you look at this budget and see just how impactful it is. We've been using this budget since 2017, February 2017. So now we'll be it'll be 3 years since we've been using this Google Sheets budget, and we haven't missed a month. It was hard at first, yes, but we haven't missed a month. So I'm excited because I'm going to share this with you guys. If you have questions, if you guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Like I said, this is my first live stream, so I am trying to make sure everything is working. There is a live chat on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube live feed. So if you can just, say hello on the chat. Where are you from? And if you have any questions along the way, just put the question in the chat, and I will try to catch your questions as I'm going through the budget. And so I see we've got about 4 or 5 viewers. That's awesome. My philosophy is, even if there's like one person out there who is looking for help for a budget, like, that is more than worth it. You know what I mean? Because one of my mentors always told me that you never know who you're mentoring. Excuse me, I put my phone on silent. You never know who you're mentoring, and that person that you're mentoring could ultimately be impacting 100,000 people. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And if you haven't, go ahead and download the Google Sheets budget, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. All you have to do is basically just go to the link in the description, or you can go to the link in the chat. I put it over there as well. All you have to do is go to habeshafinance.com/budget copy, and you'll be able to find that budget. You'll be able to find that copy. And just, if the audio is going in and out, if the stream is not doing well right now, the stream status is good. So I'm relying on you guys. I'm relying on you all to let me know along the way, hey, audio is not working, or the quality is not really good. Just let me know. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to download the budget, and from there, what will happen is you will get to this page right here. Now, once you get to this page, you'll see it's called Free Excel Budget Template. And this budget template, like I said, is a 12-month budget template. So one thing that I really like to do is just to make sure that I go ahead and understand that this is going to be for 12 months, okay? That I'm going to be updating this budget for the next 12 months. And You can use your phone, but I prefer to use a laptop. The phone is like, maybe if you're making like one or two little edits here and there, but my personal, a preference is to edit this budget on the actual laptop if you can, or like a tablet, because it's bigger. The template, the budget is bigger and it's easier to navigate around. So when you first get into the budget, what you're going to see is this year in review tab. And before you do anything, I know it may not have access to it right away. And so what I'm going to say to you all is to make sure that you do have a Google account. Like you just need a Google account. So you would have to create a Google account and you would be able to get access to this budget template, because what's going to happen is you're going to actually download this copy for your own. So right now, I'm the only one who has access, okay, to this budget template, because I don't want people going in there, editing what is a copy for everyone to download for themselves. And they're editing this copy of a budget, and then hundreds of other people are editing the same budget copy. So what we first have to do is go to File. We go to File, and after we go to File, we go to Make a Copy. Very simple. So I'm going to show you guys basically what we do for our house. We go to File and Make a Copy. And this is what we do every year. Like I'm going into this exact same link that is available to all of you for free, and I go to File and then I make a copy. And so when you see that, you'll see File, Make a Copy, and ultimately you're going to create your own budget template. And what we personally like to do, my wife and I, we like to go ahead and call it like the G Family Budget 2020. And so if I show you guys, we have a G Family Budget 2017, a G Family Budget 2018, a G Family Budget 2019, and a G Family Budget 2021. And I see a thumbs up from Kevin. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining the live budget tutorial. Welcome. Now, when you title your budget, what you're going to want to do is just make sure you put a year on it. So that way, you're working in that year. And then, when you reflect and look back, you'll see 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and you can always compare how you did this year, how you did that year, how is your income doing year over year. It's great to just keep it, categorized by year and just have it organized that way. So we hit OK. All right. And it's going to create a new tab. Okay. And once we get into this new tab, we'll see that it says G Family Budget. Very simple. And once this tablet happens, once this tab opens up for you guys, you can just go ahead and close the old tab. And I just want to make sure that you all will get that, we'll let that happen for you all. And I do see that, yep, it happened. So I'm going to go ahead and hit X on this. Okay, and let's do this real quick. All right, make it better for you guys to see this. All right, so now that we're able to get our own budget, now what we see is a year in review. And really, I don't really look at this as much as I look in the individual tabs, but this basically tallies in all of your expenses, your income for year over year, month over month, and it actually adds it all up, and you can see like your total. So like right here, you can see how much you've been spending, how much you've made already. So once you're filling in January, February, March, April, you can stop at April and then just see how much you've made total, how much you've spent total on, if we just scroll down, let's see. Okay, get out of here, error. There's a lot of errors because we're not filling anything out yet. You can see how much your income is total right here, beginning of month balance, income one, income two. Like if you have multiple jobs or if you're a family that's bringing in multiple incomes, then you can see like mortgage. So at the end of the year, at December, what you're going to see is your mortgage. So how much you've been paying in mortgage, January, February, March. Maybe you added an extra payment in April and May and June, and you're adding more extra payments, July, August, September, and that tallies everything and adds it all up right here, total. And then it also gives you the average right here on the last column. So got another comment, great budget template. Thank you so much for that comment. It's Aganish, that's awesome. I'm glad you're liking this budget. And so this, like I said, this tab right here, this review tab right here is more for just a reference. Now, if we want to go ahead and we can start by looking at January. Okay. Now this budget template is really smooth. I like to say that it's smooth because you can work month by month. So if we click on the tab January, and these numbers that are in here, I just randomly populated. So when you look into this budget, it's not like, income number one is, this is not my income or anyone I know whose income it is. It's just random numbers that I populated in there that you can go in and actually change yourself. So let's say we start the month off because we're going to go ahead and start figuring everything out, right? You know what your income is, okay? And if you are a freelancer or an entrepreneur whose income fluctuates from time to time, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. But I like what Dave Ramsey says. I like what some of the other personal finance folks say. Take the average of your last 12 months, the last 6 months of what your income is, because your income best. You know what your average and what you probably are going to make most of the time, month to month. So you would put all of that information in this section right here, your income. So let's say the beginning of the month balance for January was $100, right? And we know we're going to bring in about $5,000, right? Income. That's pretty nice income. And maybe there is a side gig we do. Maybe we're driving Uber, or maybe we're delivering pizzas and we have a side income and we make $250 on the side. So when you put that column in, this is going to be your projected column. So this is what you're projecting, right? This is what you're estimating. Now, there may be an extra bonus that you get with your company, or you may have overestimated how much you were going to make in a certain month, maybe be due to you don't get holiday pay or whatever. Once you get your check, once you get your paycheck, you can go into this column right here and put in exactly what you got. So let's say we type in $100, and I like to do the equal sign and then put the $100, and I'll explain why I do that in a bit. But you do that, put that in there, $100. The next, so you're putting all this information in as you're getting your checks, as you're getting your income, your paychecks, direct deposits, whatever you get from your workplace. Let's say you estimate that you're going to make $5,000, right? Or you're a freelancer, or you're getting paid, bi-weekly in a month. So what I like to do is, for these sections, these cells, I like to put the equal sign, and then I'll put whatever my first check of that month was. So let's say I made $22,000 doing like a side gig of 3 weddings, right? Back to back weekends or whatever. And I just made $2,000. Well, that'll show me that I'm actually $3,000 below what I've made, what I'm estimating myself to make. So then towards the end of the month, let's say I get a couple more gigs and I am able to make, $3,500, just hustling. And so what that gives me is $5,500. So I actually made over the amount that I was projected to make, $500. So you can kind of see that what you actually make may not always be exactly what you project. And that's just, that's life. So get out of that section now. That's what your income section is going to look like. Now, the rest of everything is going to be the expenses. So whether we can take a look at each category right here. And like I said, I did not create these categories. All of this was already pre-populated. So you can go in here and just edit whatever it is that you have, and just edit it, put in whatever, your expenses are. So for like home expenses, if you have a family, you're in a house, or if you're renting, you're in an apartment, you put, your mortgage, your rent. How much are you making per month? How much are you spending on your mortgage? How much are you spending on your rent per month? And so in Atlanta, in Georgia, it's going to vary from Atlanta to New York to just different places, right? So let's say for your mortgage, your rent is about $1,500. Like I said, these are random numbers that I just came up with, because I think depending on where you live, you can kind of relate to this. Most people, I remember when I was living in Los Angeles, I was renting a studio apartment for $700. And half of my paycheck, half of my monthly check was actually going to my rent. So whether it's $700 or $1,500 or a $2,000 mortgage, you put that number in here, and that's pretty much going to be standard, depending on your living arrangements. So $1,500, and then your electricity, you're gonna look at how much you're spending on electricity based on your bills. It can range, I'm sure, from $50 to $100 to $200, just depending on if you're in an apartment or a house. And then it goes on from there. So you put in your home expenses, whatever your home expenses are, and I want you to understand that this is going to be specific to your living arrangements. So just go in here and edit, like if you have internet, okay? I don't know if there's an internet category in here, but you can put internet in here and just put in what you pay for internet a month, $50 a month, right? That's your projected. Focus on the projected right now, and then I'll get into, your actual expenses, and we'll see how that all comes together. So we got a question from Indu Hailu. Sorry, I logged in late. Is beginning of month balance is carried over from the previous month? Correct. Yes. The beginning of the month balance right here is always what you're bringing from the previous month. So like as we get ready to end this month, January, just to kind of give you a preview, your total income minus your total expenses, this section right here is really important. I'm getting ahead of myself, but just for the question, your actual income is all going to be added from right here, this column right here. And then your actual expenses is going to be calculated from all the data in these sections right here. So what you're going to have is your final amount that you have at the end of the month. And then you can copy this number into February's tab for beginning of month balance. And by the end of usually towards the end of the tutorial, you'll see that happening. So just to get ahead of myself, I'm just getting a little ahead of myself, but just to answer the question that Indu asked in the chat. Thank you for the question. Great question. Now, you go through all of these different categories, and you'll see there's transportation. How much are you spending on fuel? Your auto insurance. If you finance your car, your vehicle payment month to month, and you put, like, for instance, maybe your car payment's $300 a month. Remember, maybe you pay a little bit extra because you want to get rid of that car payment faster than what they want you to. So you put $400 in here, and they show you, that what you actually paid is a difference of above $100. But that's based on how much you're actually gonna put towards that payment. Okay, so we can put this back, zero this back out, we'll leave the $300 there, vehicle payment, and say, we paid just $300. Okay, so put $300 there. Now fuel, maybe you spend about $200 a month on fuel. I think that's how much we spend, about how much we spend, more or less. And, so maybe this month we'll end up spending, like, let's say $220. Okay. So I put that here, and that shows me, oh, I overspent on fuel. And that's a great indicator to say, am I budgeting correctly? Am I budgeting accurately how much I should be allocating, how much I should be putting for that category of fuel, or that category of electricity, or that category of groceries? So there's this. I really love this budget because there's so many different sections. You have life insurance. How much are you spending on doctor care, medical care? Maybe you have a pet care. Okay, these, you can go in and edit this stuff too. You have a gym membership you can put in here, and you put all, whatever it is that you project. Maybe you're spending $30 a month on your gym membership dues. Okay, now we keep looking through this section. So if you just continue to look at all of the different sections, it's really great to see how many different categories. I don't want to understate like how powerful this budget is because of the different sections, the different categories, and how it works to, calculate all of it at once. So you're not having to, add everything. The budget formula is doing all of that for you right there. So we got some more comments. It's checking in from Atlanta. Cool. It's really helpful. Saba, I love this template. It took a couple of months for us to get used to, but once we did, I cannot start the month without this filled out. Love seeing where all our money is going. And that, obviously, of course, that's my wife. Thank you so much. And really, like, that's true. We really see where all our money is going, and that's a really powerful message for so many of us who are, making money, trying to live our lives, enjoy life, and be responsible with our money. And we're just trying to figure out, okay, what's really happening to the money that we're making. So as we continue this budget tutorial, I just want to let you guys, continue to put questions in the chat, and hopefully you have access. Remember, if you are looking for access to this Google Sheets budget, just click in the link, the first comment that I put in the chat, or you can click on the link in the description, and that's habeshafinance.com/budget copy, and that'll take you straight to this budget. Make sure you click on File and then make a copy, and a new tab will populate, and will let you name your budget however you want it to name it. I just named this G Family Budget 2020. I like to put the year in the in the title of that budget, just so I know which year I'm working in, because I always, I will reflect sometimes on past budgets and just see how we've, how far we've come along. So, okay, so now we've put in all of what we project to spend. Okay, we have his blow, her blow. So what that means is, like, in our household, now that we've, secured all of our debt out, mostly, that's another story for another day. But we have, I spend a little bit here, she spends a little bit there, just, for entertainment, for enjoyment purposes, like maybe I like to go see, one of my favorite movies when, James Bond comes out, or Marvel movies come out, and maybe I go with my friends, my boys, and that's part of the money that I'm using to spend for myself, a haircut or whatever it is. And then same thing for my wife. I don't know why she only has $100, but hopefully she's not mad about that. Now we have groceries, $400. Now let me tell you, this is one of the biggest expenses, obviously, for families. And if you're a family and you're looking at this, I really challenge you to look at your grocery budget and see how you can optimize your grocery budget. I remember in the beginning we were spending quite a bit, and when we really, on food, just food in general, when we started increasing our grocery budget and planning our meals and doing those things, this budget really helped us see, wow, we're spending too much money on food between, dining and eating out and groceries. Let's see if we can increase the grocery budget, decrease the dining out, and just kind of lower all of the money that we're spending on food. And it was pretty good. We did a pretty decent job. Still learning, still growing, but we're getting there. So slush fund is just maybe like any kind of extra expenses. Let's say, we come to the house and we say, oh, we want to buy XYZ for whatever it is. And a mirror for the house or something. Well, we have that there, to be able to spend that kind of money, to spend that money on that stuff. So, and then you can get into the other categories: entertainment, $50 for bowling, and then credit cards. And then if you like to give to your church or give to your mosque or give to your any type of religious organization or any type of nonprofit organizations, you can put that here. You can put like $200 a month if that's okay with, if you like that. So now we're going to go ahead and start looking at our expenses. Like, what are we actually spending on, with our money? And before we do that, let's just say we projected we were going to make $100. We brought $100 over from the previous month. And let's just say we went ahead and we made the whole $5,000 for the month. Okay. We made $250 for the month and $100. So let's just say whatever we projected is exactly what we made. Okay. So you'll see there's no difference right here. And now that, because we've made all that, because we made exactly what we said we were going to make, there's no errors, there's no difference. Now, here, like I said, this section right here is like the master section for each month. What it shows us is the total income was projected to be $5,350, and the actual income was exactly $5,350. If I change this to $4,500, you'll see that this whole section right here is communicating to this line right here, total income. So we put $4,500. Look at that. So we made $4,850, and that gets communicated on this line. And what does that tell us? We over projected for the month of January because there's a difference of $500. That's why I like this section. It's pretty cool. So let's go back and just say we made the whole $5,000. Okay. So when we're doing our budget, one thing I like to make sure is to look at, like I said, this column. Already you can see that I projected my family to make $5,350. But when I looked at our total expenses, it says we're overspending $6,125. And I think for so many of us, this is exactly what happens, because we start using credit cards and we start thinking we have more money than we actually do. Not all of us, but I would say half of us maybe this happens. And so this is a great, indication to show us, wow, I'm spending more money. I budgeted to spend more money than I actually make. So what am I going to do? I have to reduce my expenses. So I'm going to look through everything, right? I'm going to look through everything and anything that I can to make sure that I reduce my expenses. So what does that mean? Obviously, my mortgage has to get paid, right? $1,500, I have to pay that. Electricity, I have to keep the lights on, right? Let's say they came back $150, right? Let's say my gas bill wasn't that high this month, so it came out $50, okay? And then let's say the internet bill, that's pretty much stays the same. My cell phone bill stays the same. And I'm just putting, $50. These are random numbers. Let's say cable, I said, you know what? I canceled cable last month, so I'm not spending anything, moving forward. So I keep it at $0, okay? So let's see how much I've spent so far. So I've spent a total of $2,320. And I have remaining to spend is $3,030. Now, we get paid bi-weekly, I understand that. So I'm just trying to show you as a totality, as a total amount that, when you look at the big picture, how much you've made versus how much you've spent. Now, if we take a moment and see, we didn't spend anything on cable because, we got rid of it. So if we got rid of it, you can just delete that expense. We can delete that expense, and that brings that number to $6,025. So we went from about $775 under budget over budget, spending over budget, projected to now $675. So that means we're still looking at different ways to reduce how much we spend. Okay, let's say fuel for the month, we didn't spend that much. Let's say our actual fuel expense driving around turned out to be $150. All right, by the end of the month, that means we have $50 left. So if we have $50 left, we can see that money is going to help us counter what we're expected to overspend. So we keep doing this. We keep putting, how much we're spending on the different things. And I think, look at this monthly contribution. I found this for a vacation house. Now, we don't have a vacation house. So this $950 is clearly causing us to be over budget. So when I look at how much we make and versus how much, and not we, but the G family, how much the G family is making versus what their expenses are, you're going to have to get rid of that vacation house. And that's, the bottom line, because you are not making enough money to spend to make up for that cost of that vacation house. So right away, I would take that out. I would take the vacation house. I would sell the vacation house or do whatever you had to do because you're not making enough money, or rent it out to add, to your overall income. But for this lesson, for this purpose, if you have a vacation house, you have to put that number in there. Okay. But this is a good indication for you to see. If you have a lot of expenses that you're doing, try to find ways to get rid of it or increase your income to account for it. So I just went ahead and put the 950. We're going to keep the vacation home, see if there's anywhere else that we can reduce our expenses. So we have a question. We got a thumbs up. All right, cool. Thank you. And from Kevin, how can you fill this out for electric, house gas if it's a different amount every month? Do you estimate? Yeah, since we actually just moved into our own home in July, so July 2019. So our bill for electric and gas has fluctuated. It's gone up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's gonna go up. Obviously, electricity is gonna go up in the what do you call it? In the summer months, and then the winter months, you're gonna see the gas go up, just depending on if you have a gas line, if you have an electricity line or whatever. And those brutal really cold months or those really hot summer days, you're gonna be using a lot more energy, whether it's electricity or gas. And what we do is we look at the previous month, because the previous month weather is usually going to be very similar to that, next month. So if we ended up spending and I'll put the camera back on me just to say, okay, hey guys, if we're spending $150 on electricity in the month of January. Well, February, I'm going to go ahead and put $150 because the weather, the temperature, our behavior is not going to be that much different from January. So that's how I would do that. And then as I get to, and if I go above that month, when I get to the next month and I'm using more, then what I do is I just make sure that when I find that bill, when I get the bill for the next month, usually electricity and I think gas, I'm not sure. I know our electricity, we usually find out the month before the bill is due. So that kind of helps us. I'm not sure if your electricity is the same way, but I would say try to use the previous couple months to just kind of estimate how much you're spending. Springtime, fall, you're not going to be using as much because the weather's nice, especially typically depending on where you live. Obviously, like if you're in the West Coast, you're most likely going to have decent weather year round. But if you're in the New England area, if you're in South, Georgia, Florida, you're in the summer, you're going to be using a lot of air conditioning. You're going to be using a lot of electricity. And what I would say is just to check those months, as you're getting ready to go, and just give yourself a buffer. Maybe between May, June, July, as you get to June and July, just add an extra $50 or add an extra $100 as you get ready to go into those months. So I hope that answers that question. But it just takes looking at your bills month to month and recognizing, what's going to happen in the next month, weather-wise, family-wise. Usually around Christmas, families coming over, I know. So you're going to, and, holidays season, you're going to get a lot of friends and families coming in and out. So you will use a lot more, water and energy and all that. So just use that and take that into account. So I hope that answers that question. It takes a little bit of, I think, just deep dive in and just being one with your budgets and your bill. So we'll get back to the budget here. And so as I mentioned, when we budgeted for the month, we put in our income and we put all our expenses, and we recognize that our income is a lot lower than our expenses. So we're trying to find ways where we can actually reduce our overall expenses. So this month you might not be able to save, okay? That's just kind of how it is. So you put $0 there, okay? Now I want you guys to see something. I'm gonna undo that and watch this number right here, 675, go down to 275. So we're getting closer and closer to having a budget that we're not concerned or we're worried about, where we have more expenses, where we don't have enough income. Vacation, can't save for vacation. We're not going to go on that trip to Miami to watch the Super Bowl. Sorry, we can't do that. And that's going to be $0. And then tuition, we won't be able to save this month for tuition because clearly we're still $175 over, and this is something good to do in the beginning as you're just projecting all your expenses. But I'm just kind of all over the place because this is a tutorial. So if you have questions, again, please ask in the chat, and I'll try to get to your questions accordingly. So sorry, kids, we're not going to be able to save for tuition this month. Okay, so now I am in the positive, okay? So when you look at this, remaining to budget, this number tells you exactly how much money you're going to have left at the end of the month. And this is a key part of this budget because that tells you, okay, going into February, I have $25 in my bank account. For some of you, that's not good because I have bills due on February 3rd, more rent due on the 5th, and this and that. And so now you're starting to see, okay, in order for me to be financially free, in order for me to really manage my money better, this number right here, remaining to budget, has got to be more than just $25, more than just $100, more than a couple $100, because while I understand, everyone's situation is different, everyone's financial situation is not the same, but we should be working to get to a point where this number right here is going to be, $500 or $600 or $700, because we're carrying over into the next month more money than, more money than we would have otherwise if we just had the same amount of our income going towards expenses. So back to the individual expenses, we're going to see now, so far in the month, we've spent a total of $3,230. So what we actually have right now is in our bank account, $2,120. You see that right there, $3,230 right here is actual expenses. So if we go back through this budget, that $3,230 is calculating all of this, all right, in the actual column, all of the transportation actual expenses and then the fitness, what we actually spent, the monthly contribution to the vacation house, which, next month we're going to try to get rid of, right? Because that's a big part of what our expenses are. And that's actual, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at his blow, her blow. And for this month, as we're, into the month and we're doing our budget, what we can say is, sorry, honey, and then me and you, we don't need to spend money on anything right now. I can go without, taking time to hang out with the guys this month. This month, I won't go with the guys, but, maybe I do want to get something for myself. So I'll just put this at $40, okay? Your budget is a live budget, and I don't want you to think like because you put $200 in there, you have to spend that $200. No, you can change that at any time in the month, especially when you start to see, I'm spending way too much, okay? So when I put that down to $40, look what happened. What we have left to budget is $185. What we have left to bring over into the next month is $185, which is great. And then, for the honey, for the wife, I put $50. I'll give her $10 extra since I started her at $100 less than me. Now, one thing that I will say is, as you get into these kind of categories where you're going to have a lot of individual expenses, it's really important to recognize that your individual expenses are all going to be added on that individual cell. So if you go into like an app, right, like a Mint app or every dollar app that Dave Ramsey has, which I think is very close to what this budget does. When you go into the different fields, it's going to take into account when you go into like, your grocery budget, it's going to say, how much did you spend on this day? How much did you spend on this day? How much did you spend on this day? And I think whatever app you're working on, that's really important to recognize. If you're going to Costco, if you're going to Kroger, if you're going to Ralph's, if you're going to Publix or whatever, grocery store you're going to, it's important to put what you're spending on groceries in the grocery budget and keep it, keep account of all of those line by line, like keep account of all those expenses. I was talking to a good friend of mine and I told him like, I get very, very detailed when I'm doing these expenses. If you look at some of our budgets and, we spent like $459.50 on grocery budgets, you're going to see, $2.20 spent, plus $3.17 plus 55 cents plus. I get that detailed, and it takes that kind of effort. I think if you're really trying to build wealth, if you're really trying to get a better hold of your money, better hold of your finances. So this is kind of what I do. I go into the grocery line, or I go into the his blow or her blow, or if we go out, and I do equals. So what I'm doing is I'm putting an equal sign, and this is going to force you to really, because you don't want to have a lot of miscellaneous expenses. I think a lot of us get caught up with those miscellaneous expenses, those expenses that are just kind of just random. We go to the grocery store, we buy candy for 59 cents, or we go to the store and we buy like a can of Coke or whatever. And those little things we kind of don't keep track of start to add up over time. So this is why we've really embraced the Costco, Sam's Club, warehouse shopping. And so what I like to do here is I like to put the equal sign. Okay, so I put the equal sign right here. And sorry, I forgot to transfer the view to the Excel budget. Like I said, this is my first live stream, so I know there's gonna be a little bit mistakes. Sorry about that. But now we're here. So I go into the grocery budget, and let's just say like, the first week we spent $78.88. Okay, $78.88 for our first meal. Well, what you see here is you have You've budgeted a total of $400. You spent $78.88. So you have left $321.12. This is pretty cool to see because it's helping you understand, okay, am I on track to spend exact about what I said I was going to spend, or am I starting to spend more than I thought I was going to? And as you get into the next week, let's say you spend, so what I do is I to add another expense, to add another, trip to the grocery store. Let's just say we spend another $93.44 the next week. $93.44. What you can do is you click on the cell and then you go up here. You go up here and then you hit the plus sign. You hit the plus sign and then just add $93.44. You just type that in, $93.44. And what does that do? You hit enter and that totals up right here, $172. So that gives you your first payment at the grocery store for the first week of January, $78.88. And then the second week, $93.44. And this is, I think, the part of the budget that really is hard to do because you're, accounting for every single individual expense. But I promise you, when you start to do this, like those little, individual expenses, you stop doing because you're like, I don't want to add that to the budget. That's really annoying. And for my wife and I, we really have embraced, like I said, the bulk shopping. We shop like 2 weeks, we shop enough for 2 weeks, so we don't have to go back to the grocery store. And just try to that helps us manage our budget a lot better, a lot smoother. So we keep adding more expenses for the rest of the month in January. Let's say we spent, let's just put a little bit over what we said. Okay, so the last couple of weeks we spent $100, and then the week after we spent $140. So we were over about $12.32. So $12.32 is what we were over, which is okay, which is not bad because that shows you're pretty close to what you said you were going to spend. Now, what each section shows you is, okay, since you overspent on groceries, well, guess what? This is not telling you to starve, or this is not telling you can't go and feed your family, obviously. But what this is saying is, okay, maybe I'm going to have to say I can't spend $12.32 on something I like, right? So I have to be aware of the money that I have for me, for my entertainment purposes. Maybe there's a slush fund and we were thinking about getting a new rug or, for the dining room. Well, that might have to wait till next month, or we have to be careful and just, watch what we're spending. So I don't want to go over. I don't want to miss going over this again. Make sure when you're in each category, you hit, like for dining and eating out, for example. Let's say you hit the equal sign, okay, and then you went to Chick-fil-A down south. We like going to Chick-fil-A. One of my favorite places to go. We spent $25.45, okay, and then there's another bill. There's another expense for the month of January. We went to, I don't know, Zaxby's or whatever, and we spent. That's another chicken place. $33.67. Okay, so we were over budget, $9.12. You don't have to beat yourself up over $9.12. That happens, But what you want to really be concerned about is, let's say you went to a nice, expensive restaurant and you spent $175 or something. You took everybody out to dinner, right? Now, that $184 is a red flag, because what that says is you are spending a lot of money on eating out. This was us. This was me and my wife in the beginning of the budget. February 2017, March 2017, April 2017. We were way over on so many different expensive categories, that it kind of woke us up to say, you know what, we can do without this, or we can do without that. We don't need to go to, 5 restaurants every month. And that helps. That really does help, I believe. Now, I'm going to take that out because I don't think you guys spend $175, hopefully. And we'll keep it at $9.12. Okay. So let's just say, I'm just going to start putting in numbers here for the sake of time. His blow, we'll say I spent $20 or something. She spent $35. Okay. So now we're getting closer to the end of the month, and slush fund, as we can see, we have $283 left. So we can get that nice rug, $200 for the nice looking rug. We put in the dining room table. We have $83 left, which is great. Now, we didn't go bowling, okay? So we'll just leave that at zero. And charitable donation, made sure we gave our charitable donation. Now, maybe we have a credit card open, so we put $500, okay? I'm gonna do this equals, and I'm gonna show you guys something, okay? And then we got another credit card payment we owe $150 on. All right. Now, so we've basically filled out all of our expenses that we actually had. And now if we go back up to our the master section, what this shows us is we projected at the beginning of the month that we would have $235 left. By the end of the month, we only spent $4,806.44. What that means is when you look at your bank account, when you look at how much you have on the last day of January 31st going into February 1st, you should have $543.56. I hope that makes sense. Hope that's kind of making sense. So you budgeted to spend $5,115. What that includes is your mortgage, electricity, internet, and so forth, groceries, dining, eating out, your charitable donations, like I said, nonprofit organizations, your religious organizations, fitness club, your gym membership, your credit card, and credit card number 2 if you have multiple credit cards, and then your vacation house. This vacation house, I don't know why it was in here, but it was just in here, and I didn't want to leave it out. I think it's a great learning tool, but you can delete this. I would just delete this. And any other category on this page, make it your own. Like I said before in this tutorial, just go through and you can just edit all the categories to what you spend, okay? But I really like that they do have a lot of these categories by how they label them. Professional fees if you have an accountant or lawyer, miscellaneous, just random stuff, whatever you have. So we have $543. Now, somebody asked, Indu asked earlier, is beginning of month balance carried over from the previous month? That is very true. So what you want to do is you take that $543.56, okay? And you would just type that into the next month, because theoretically, that is what you're going to end up with at the end of the month. And that's what you're going to start February with. So what you do is $543 and what was it, 66 cents? 56 cents. $543.56. So that's what you're beginning the month with. And you can just put 543 here because that's pretty much going to stay the same. So for your income, what you can do is you can just copy this again, right? You can just copy this. This is what I do. I'll just copy this. And what I end up doing is I copy this, and then I will copy it through like the next couple of months. My income may change, things may happen, things may change, but I like to do that and just have it out there so I can try to plan out the next 3-4 months. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but we like to plan out the next 3-4 months because, taxes are coming up. Property taxes are always due. If you live in a subdivision where you owe an HOA, you know when that's due. So you can put that expense in the future months, and you can kind of adjust and calculate, okay, I'm making this much per month. I spend this much on mortgage and groceries and stuff. I know in October I have property taxes due. So I'm going to put that in there. Just make sure the numbers are lining up. So if we go into February, we just basically do the same thing. And what you can do is a very quick way. You can just copy this like this. Don't copy actual, but just copy like the mortgage section and then the projected, and just copy it down like this. So you hit Control C, and then you go into February, and then you just click on mortgage rent. Just click once, click it, left click it, and then you paste it. Control V, boom. All of the same expenses that you had, and then you can go in and individually edit each one. And I think that will help you, be prepared for each month. So if once you edit all the categories and how much you expect to spend, so like mortgage shouldn't change, right? Unless you're putting a little bit extra towards your payment to, pay your mortgage faster. That shouldn't change. So you can actually just, copy this amount to March, right? You scroll down, pay that. Okay, put that right there. April, you see what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying now? You can just keep putting that amount for the rest of the year, because your mortgage is typically not going to change unless you have like some weird, set structure for your mortgage. But if you have like a 15-year mortgage fixed or a 30-year mortgage fixed, that number is fixed. That's not going to change, right? Okay, we got a question. Is it the H7 or I7 carried into next month? So it's this one right here, H7. Good question. It's H7. It's H7 that's carried into next month, and you don't want to hit copy. You don't want to copy this and then put this in here because it does this error. Because what you're saying is you don't want to do that because you're copying like the formula, right? So if you try to copy what was it? The actual formula in the H7 cell is H5 minus H6. So H5, which is actual, excuse me, let me just get a drink of water. H5 minus H6 is H7, right? $543. So what I do is I just actually just manually type this number into the beginning of the month balance for the next month, if that makes sense. That's why I said just manually type it, and it takes an extra couple of seconds. So hopefully that's not too bad. But like I said, and if you have any questions, please ask your questions. One thing that I appreciate about this budget is, you can access it on your phone. So if you have the Google Sheets app on your phone, and I'll show that to you all, what that looks like right here. If you see it, right here, Google Sheets, okay? The Google Sheets app, you can log in and you can actually go into the Google Sheets app and then access the app through your phone. So that way you can actually go in and edit some of the fields. Now, it is tiny, right? When you open the app, it is pretty tiny. And look at that. I don't know if you can see that. G Family Budget is already on my phone. So because it's a Google app, because it's a Google account, and I have Google Sheets on my phone, it actually is updated onto my phone. So if I want to go in here and just make some quick edits, make some quick changes to the January budget, I can do that. And it's kind of the same thing. It's tinier, so you have to be careful. You have to just, be aware, like you don't want to make some mistakes. Sometimes I make mistakes on the Google Sheets budget. So my plan was to go over the tutorial for 30 minutes and then take questions for like 30 minutes, but it seems like it took a little bit longer because of, this being my first stream and trying to just accommodate questions, which is perfectly fine, but just running with that, just trying to do it that way. And so great tip that I got from this budget that I learned from this budget. I had some, quick tips with this budget. One of the tips that I had was the amount of money that you carry over into the next month, the amount of money that you carry over into the next month should always be enough to pay for like those initial expenses and until you get paid in the next month. So let's say, if we go back to the budget real quickly, I just want to talk about this real quickly because it's really important. February, your mortgage is coming up, right? Your rent is coming up on February 5th or whatever, February 6th, and you're, taking with you into the next month $543.56 when your mortgage is $1,500 or $700 for your rent or $500 for your rent. Well, that $543 is not going to cut it. So hopefully, for those of you who are doing this budget, for those of you watching, you're in a position where you just need a little bit of adjustments in your expenses, in your what you're spending. So I want this message that I have for you is try to make sure that this number right here that you're carrying over into every month, that every upcoming month is enough to pay for almost like, a lot of your expenses, a lot of those initial expenses that you're going to have at the beginning of the month. Because I don't want you to look at this budget and say, oh, I make $5,000, so that means I should spend $5,000. No, that's not the message. The message is let's say you make $5,000 or you make $3,000. Well, you want to keep your expenses at, $3,000 or $1,000 respectively, right? And easier said than done. But if you're making $3,000 a month, you have to look at your living situation, right? I like what Dave Ramsey says. I like what a lot of personal finance people say. Your living expenses shouldn't be more than like 25% of what you make, or 20% of what you make. So if you have a $3,000 house, a $3,000 income that you bring home, well, you shouldn't be putting like more than 20% or 25%. So like almost like $6,000 or $600. I'm sorry, my math is all over the place. You shouldn't be spending $600, $700, more than that, $800 on rent or a mortgage. And I think that really wakes people up, because if you're about trying to get to financial freedom and journey, then you're really going to understand how much you're spending in each category, and just doing what you can to just get better with reducing your expenses, making sure that you don't put too much money in this category or that category. So if there's any questions, I'll give about a minute or so for people to put any questions in the chat. If you like this, make sure, just like the video on YouTube, and just want to say thanks. We had a lot of people, quite a bit of people, more than I was expecting to join this chat. So that was pretty cool. I appreciate everyone who joined the chat, who was hanging out and just participating in this. I definitely want to do this kind of tutorial again. Hopefully for those of you who feel like, oh, I need a little bit more work. If you do, you can always email me, matt@habeshafinance.com. You can always join the Habesha Finance Facebook group. You can always reach out, Twitter, Instagram. My handles are Habesha Finance. Very simple, Habesha Finance. And you'll be able to do that. So with that being said, just want to say good night to all of you. If there's no questions, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful and purposeful week, and hopefully we will continue to budget and continue to take control of our money this year in 2020. All right, take care and peace.